ZIS-101. In 1936, the Soviet Union produced its first domestically built luxury automobile, and the ambition behind it was unmistakable. The ZS-101 rolled out of the Stalin Automobile Factory in Moscow, drawing heavy inspiration from the 1933 Buick Series 90. Soviet engineers had studied American manufacturing techniques extensively, and the result was a 5.8-liter straight-eight engine producing 110 horsepower. The body was constructed with hand-formed steel panels over a wooden frame. Only 8,752 units were built between 1936 and 1941. Stalin himself was photographed beside early examples. The ZIS-101 established that the Soviet state could produce a vehicle worthy of revolutionary leadership, not merely import one. ZIS-110. Production began in 1945, the same year the war ended, and the timing was entirely deliberate. The ZIS-110 was modeled almost directly on the 1942 Packard 180, a car Stalin had reportedly admired during wartime diplomatic exchanges with American officials. Built at the Stalin Automobile Factory in Moscow, it featured a 6.0-liter straight-eight engine producing 140 horsepower and a top speed of 140 kilometers per hour. Hydraulic windows, a heating system, and wool upholstery distinguished its interior. Only 2,089 units were manufactured over 12 years. The ZIS-110 served as the official state limousine until 1958, appearing at every major parade, diplomatic reception, and state funeral of the early post-war Soviet period. GAZ-12ZIM. When the Politburo needed a limousine tier between the ZIS and ordinary vehicles, the ZIM filled that precise gap. Produced at the Gorky automobile plant beginning in 1950, the GAZ-12 was the first Soviet car developed without direct copying of a foreign model, though American influences remained visible in its proportions. Its 3.5-liter straight-six produced 90 horsepower. The ZIM stretched 5.53 meters and seated 6 passengers comfortably. Between 1950 and 1959, approximately 21,527 units were manufactured, making it the most widely produced Soviet luxury car of its era. Generals, regional party secretaries, and senior factory directors were among its assigned users. In Soviet society, arriving in a ZIM communicated enormous institutional authority. ZIL-111. In 1958, the ZIS factory was renamed ZIL, and the new designation arrived alongside a new flagship. The ZIL-111 stretched 6.1 meters and weighed over 2,500 kilograms, drawing unmistakable visual inspiration from the 1955 Packard Caribbean, including its panoramic windscreen and prominent chrome details. Its 6.0-liter V8 produced 200 horsepower, pushing the vehicle to 170 kilometers per hour. Only 112 units were ever completed between 1958 and 1967. Reserved exclusively for Politburo members and visiting foreign dignitaries, the ZIL-111 appeared prominently during Khrushchev's tenure. Soviet citizens encountered it almost exclusively in state newsreels. Its production run was so limited that each unit was individually signed off by factory supervisors before delivery. ZIL-114. By 1967, Soviet automotive ambition had grown longer, heavier, and more deliberately intimidating. The ZIL-114 stretched 6.3 meters and was powered by a 7.0-liter V8 generating 300 horsepower with a 3-speed automatic transmission and fully independent power assistance for steering and brakes. Only 113 units were ever produced. The body panels were hand-welded and finished exclusively in deep black, with interiors lined in fine wool and leather sourced from state tanneries. Leonid Brezhnev, who developed a well-documented personal obsession with automobiles, drove multiple ZIL-114s. Factory workers assigned to its production were formally prohibited from discussing their work outside the plant. It remains one of the most secretive production vehicles of the Cold War era. Chaika GAZ-13, the name means seagull in Russian, and its dramatic tail fins made that title feel entirely earned. The GAZ-13 Chaika debuted in 1959, produced at the Gorky automobile plant in the city then known as Gorky. Influenced partly by the 1955 Packard patrician, Soviet designers pushed the tail fin aesthetic further, creating a silhouette instantly recognizable at state functions across the Eastern Bloc. Its 5.5-liter V8 produced 195 horsepower with a top speed of 160 kilometers per hour. Approximately 3,179 units were built between 1959 and 1981, a remarkably long production run. The Chaika occupied the tier directly below the ZIL, assigned to ministers, senior military officers, and regional party leaders. It was never offered for public sale under any circumstances,